Behold the tools of creation.
Welcome back to the Project FPF devlogs. Now I haven't talked about the gameplay of Project FPF yet, so that is what this video will be about, as well as any additions that I have made since the last version. So as stated in the last devlog, FPF is a game based around Marvel Snap and its power system. I was able to create a basis of the game and allow my friends and I to test the game. While we were testing, my friends noticed that the game is like Gwent, which I've heard of but never played. After doing some research, I've realized that they were similar, but not exactly the same. I would say that FPF is a fusion of Gwent and Marvel Snap, and like Gwent, players take turns playing cards, and by the end of the game, whoever has the most points wins. A difference between FPF and Gwent is that the cards are to be played and create summons. These summons have a power and add on to the overall power to that player. These cards are just like Marvel Snap with vanilla cards like Pigeon, and some with abilities like Young Squire. I will talk about these abilities later. In Gwent, you can play many spells and other cards in a turn, but in FPF, after you play a card, your turn ends. Not only that, in Gwent, the game ends when a player passes their turn or if they run out of cards, but in FPF, this is not the case. In FPF, the game ends after round 8, or in Marvel Snap, turn 6. This way, the games end a lot quicker and players can get to play more games. A major difference between FPF, Marvel Snap, and Gwent is the game board. In Gwent, there are 3 rows per player for specific types of cards. In Marvel Snap, there are 3 locations that can hold 12 cards in total for each player. But in FPF, the board holds 25 total cards. But in both Marvel Snap and Gwent, your opponent can't interact with your side of the board. But in FPF, both players must share the same board and can interact with their opponent's summons. So you would want to take notes of where you want to place your summons. As stated before, these cards are called summons and most of them have abilities. These abilities can be triggered in many ways. Most of these triggers are similar to Marvel Snap. Here is the list. On Summon activates when a summon is spawned. Burst is similar to On Summon but only when it's spawned from hand. Aura activates while it's on the board. KO activates when the summon is destroyed. Pre and post fades activates before and after turns respectively. And that is how a game of FPF is played. Now I also want to mention the other changes that I've made since the last devlog. I'll be putting up images to show the changes in the new version. So since the last video, I have created a deck builder where you can make your own deck if you don't want to use the presets. Speaking of presets, in the last video I showed 2 of them, in which both are decks of 2 characters, Separana and Upset-to-Leo. These characters are the same characters used as classes for the Fusera Duelist. And since the last devlog, I added a new preset for another character, Kronos. Each of these characters have their own elite card, which is like a very rare card in which a deck must have exactly one of. And along with these characters are their specific class cards. These cards are only allowed to be in a deck with the same class. So Caretaker is a class card for the elite card Separana, and can only be in a deck with other Separana cards and neutral cards, which can be used in any deck. Another thing is that when selecting a deck to play, players can choose and switch between what decks to play. This is shown with a temporary UI and animation. This UI is similar and based on the UI in Hearthstone, more specifically on mobile. Other UI changes includes viewing cards in the deck builder and the start of turn animation, which are both inspired by Marvel Snap. And to keep this prototype look decent, I added more transitions between some of the scenes, like the login, lobby, and deck builder. And that is all. If you want to see more updates of Project FPF, leave a like, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!